Kevin Dietz here from WJR 760 AM, speaking to you today on behalf of my longtime friend, Dr. Michael Carroll, and his shoulder reliever device. Do you want to get back to a life without shoulder pain? Now thousands of people are getting the relief they deserve with the shoulder reliever. The product has helped many of my friends for years. Dr. Carroll, a family doc, was seeing hundreds of patients with shoulder pain. Many people told him physical therapy alone wasn't enough to eliminate the pain. Surgery is very painful and remarkably frustrating. A decade ago, Dr. Carroll himself suffered from unbearable shoulder pain. After some trial and error, Dr. Carroll invented the rotator reliever. He enhanced and updated the product in 2019, and now it's called Shoulder Reliever. The product has helped 25,000 people and counting. Simply put, Shoulder Reliever works. If you don't like it or feel like it doesn't work for you, they offer a money-back 60-day guarantee. Shoulder Reliever is the shoulder pain solution. Please sit back and enjoy the following segments from Dr. Michael Carroll and his Shoulder Reliever show. Visit shoulderreliever.com. That's shoulderreliever.com. So how did the Shoulder Reliever get started? Let's bring in Dr. Michael Carroll. Welcome.
Thank you, Kevin.
So let our listeners and viewers know about your medical history, maybe why you decided to become a doctor in the first place.
Good question. Good question. I was actually, we were talking about golf and caddying, and I'm like, back in the day, I was out on the golf course and listening to these guys, and I'm like, I don't want to do what they do. I want to do something else. So I was working in my dad's business and manual labor, and I'm like, you know what? I like to. What are my gifts? My gifts are basically communicating, caring about people, and I thought medicine would be a good setup, and it's actually that coupled with a Brother Rice career day, believe it or not. And, saw a great talk, and I'm like, listen, that is for me. And so that's when I started pursuing it back in high school, and, was able to get through it. So.
I want to talk about the shoulder reliever. The first time I heard about it, it was the rotator reliever. I was back at NBC. Carmen Harlan did a story on the product. It went really well. We got tons of calls. People wanted to know more about it. Tell us how that went and what that was kind of like, realizing so many people kind of had this pain and were looking for help.
That was fantastic in the history of this effort, and I will forever appreciate that. Carmen sort of focusing on us, and let's back up a little bit. I mean, it was like I was a young doctor, family doc. I'm a ham and eggs family doc, and I was just shocked by how many people in my practice had shoulder pain, and I'd send them to physical therapy, which I use a lot of for all kinds of things, and they would get a little bit better and then come back, and then all of a sudden I got the shoulder pain too, and I was really focused on their relief and my relief, and that sort of clued me in as to just what a massive problem it is.
You tend to think of shoulder pain as something older people have, but younger people get it too. That sort of lit a fire under you to try and find a solution?
I was sitting there. So a lot of people with shoulder pain for kind of specific reasons, a lot of times their pain gets worse at night. And so myself suffering from shoulder pain, writhing in bed in pain, and I'm like, kind of pull my arm down. I'm like, oh, that feels better. And so then I grabbed one of my old football belts, tied it to the end of the bed, and I sort of slept in that position. And I was pain-free the next day. And, of course, I'm, like, young and idealistic, and I'm like, I got it. I got the world's solution to shoulder pain. And that kind of started the process, really.
I open up your kit. I don't see any pills in there. I don't see any Big Pharma. What was Big Pharma's response to the idea of doing it your way?
It was funny because I'm like, listen, I'm going to do this the right way. I've got this idea. I'm going to do this research, and I funded the research out of my pocket, and we got these great results, and I got it published, and I presented it at the American College of Sports Medicine, and I'm like, oh boy. They're going to come and want to really take me out to dinner or something because this is a big deal. There's so many people with shoulder pain. Crickets. No one took me out to dinner. Nothing. And so then I started calling these companies and I'd be like, hey, I got this idea that's going to help all these people. And they're like, well, we've already got some stuff. And, we really don't introduce new products that are under $500. I'm like, okay, it's a little deflating. So then I kind of regrouped and, that was kind of a blessing because at that point, that was just the nighttime component. And so thought about it a lot. We added this daytime exercise and we're like, hey, we're going to do direct to consumer because this is the right thing to do.
The first time I used your product, I was literally, I just couldn't lift my arm to throw a football to my kid. And I had worked on the report at NBC, and I pulled out the product and started using it. I mean, it didn't take me very long. It was probably about 6 or 7 days, and the pain was gone. I could lift my arm and throw the football again. I mean, that has to be pretty special for you to be able to help people in a way that they can relate to.
It is well, absolutely. You see these everyday things, and some of my favorite testimonial is this. I got it from this. She mentioned it in the letter. A 97-year-old woman from Manistee. Okay, and she's like, I actually had the contractor coming out to lower the cupboards to counter hike because she couldn't. And she and so we were able to have her not lower her cupboards. But it is I think that for a product, ideally you want something that works quickly and you want something that is like pretty simple to use, right? And so we sort of hit on those and and it's just it's a system that has worked well and really we've been out for a while and we've got we've been able to help a number of people, so we're happy about that.
Yeah, you tell that story. I was up north, and my mother-in-law had all her dishes on the counter. I'm like, "What's going on? You redoing the cupboard?" She's like, "No, I can't lift up there anymore." So she right now has your shoulder reliever. She's on about week 2, and hopefully that'll work out for her. And I'm sure. Well, you must love all the 5-star reviews that you get.
Yes. I mean, that is like one of the first things I check every day. What's coming in over the on our website, and it's I feel like I've like maybe whatever uncovered like some eternal truth. Like this is the way like you're supposed to rehab your shoulder, and I do not know why it was not implemented before me, but it is. So it is gratifying to see that, and and also, I mean, I get to talk to my patients every day, and so yeah, I'm getting some. I've got my head gets pretty big thinking about that. Yeah,
This is a product you absolutely want to check out. To do that, go to shoulderreliever.com. Great visuals. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Go to shoulderreliever.com. As we get started on this next segment, tell our listeners and viewers about this incredible partnership that you and your team created with a retired NFL quarterback.
Listen, that has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, so we actually a different, believe it or not, NFL quarterback reached out to us, and I went to my marketing team, and I'm like, hey, what about this guy, a different sort of retired guy, and they're like, and one of the guys is like, hey, I went to UConn with Dan Orlovsky. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about
Former
Dan.
Lion.
Yeah, former Lion, absolutely. Huge fan of Matthew Stafford. I'm a huge fan of Matthew Stafford. I'm like, yeah, let's talk to him. And I mean, number one, he is a great person, incredibly sincere guy, and also we felt like, or I feel like, we kind of caught a rising star. I mean, he was like, I don't know. I think he did like Monday Night Football, like the second game, and so it's been great. And he's been, he's been a great spokesperson for the product, and he is, he's a sincere person, and he is. So we appreciate him being our spokesperson.
When you look at the industry, there have to be a lot of challenges when it comes to marketing and things like that.
It is. I mean, one thing that people don't recognize. I mean, I live in Traverse City. I mean, we've got very talented marketing people up there. But when you're trying to market something nationally, that's been a little bit of a challenge, finding people who have experience with this, and then you talk to other people who are in like e-marketing, and they're like, hey, You need to sell them one thing and then try to upsell them another. And I'm like, what is wrong with just, selling them one thing, fixing their problem, and then they never hear from us again? Do they really want to know my, how I feel about high protein diets and things like that? No. I mean, we are like very focused on what we do. And I think that we're super efficient. And that's how I feel about it. We sell them something that gives them relief the rest of their life.
What is the best way to purchase a shoulder reliever?
The best way is to go to our website, shoulderreliever.com, and you can. There's a discount if you sort of give up your email address, because that is the best way to do it.
What I love about this is the money back guarantee, because you look at it and you say, will it work? Won't it work? The price is very reasonable in my opinion, but you don't know. So you offer a unique money back guarantee.
We do, and I think that is. I think that is super important. We stand behind our product. We actually have, like, for parts, we have a essentially lifetime guarantee, and the 60-day money back guarantee has been something we've always been very comfortable with, and we actually only have, definitely less than 3%, sometimes less than 2% that actually come back, and so we want to get people over that hump. I mean, we do, some advertising on Facebook, and they're like, "I've never bought anything on Facebook," and then like the next sentence will be, "I wish I bought it earlier," and so it's been good for us.
Yeah, people aren't giving it back; they're passing it around to their friends. Is what they're doing.
I know.
Let's give our listeners and viewers a demonstration of how the product works.
So if you look at the nighttime component, this is something that puts your shoulder in a position of healing at night. And, when we first put it out, I thought like, oh, we need to put traction on that. But no, that is not it. If you just wear that, you're going to keep your arm in a position of healing, because it's going to keep you from sleeping on it. It's going to keep you from sleeping with your arm over your head. Secondly, the daytime component, just as important, and that is really kind of rebalancing the muscles of the shoulder in the appropriate way. And that is less than 5 minutes a day. I mean, anyone can do it. And it's spinning balls in these 3 different positions. And after you have it for a week, we sort of email you like a 4th position to try. And so that is, and hey, simplicity is critical. And that's what we got.
Yeah, the mechanism is really easy to use. It takes no time. The sleeping takes a little bit of time to get used to. It took me a couple of nights to get used to, but once I did, you just felt it almost immediately. You tried to create something simple that works. Nothing like that was out there?
Absolutely not. I mean, there's some stuff that, ice the shoulder. There's some stuff that supposedly keeps your shoulder like in a position. But this is like this daytime, nighttime approach is totally novel.
So let's talk about the 3 positions of exercise. Walk us through it.
Okay. So, I mean, the first thing I like to point out is that, we want your arm sort of out to your side to start. And it doesn't have to be straight out. It can be at the waist level. So position 1, you're spinning it like directly with your arm to the side, and you should start at waist level. And it's not your arm is stiff, so all the turning is kind of coming from muscle, the movement of the shoulder, these tiny little movements of the shoulder. And then so that's a position straight out to the side. We have a position straight out in front of you, so like as if you were shaking someone's hand. And also, definitely when people start, we have them keep that hand at waist level. And so and you feel it immediately. It all comes right from it's all coming right from the shoulder. And that's something I'll get into a little bit later as far as, what are we actually trying to do in the shoulder? So that's straight out in front of you. And then there's a position in between so that's our 3rd position. And it is pretty much anyone can spin it. And then, so we start with a small weight, and then over 40 days, you progress up the various weights until you've got the strongest rotator cuff on the block.
I think that's really key. People think, oh my gosh, my shoulder hurts, I'm not going to be able to do anything. But you start with the lightest ball, and you work at whatever ability your body will let you. But as you continue to use it, you get stronger, you increase the weight, you also increase your range.
Yes, and by so and one of the secrets of that exercise in particular is it strengthens the small muscles of the rotator cuff is actually made up of four muscles. And so it strengthens those muscles, but does not engage the bigger muscles, the deltoid, trapezius, and pec. And so by strengthening the deeper ones, it's able to sort of reestablish the balance of the shoulder. And the shoulder is an incredibly complex joint, and you need to have this like very exquisite or particular balancing act between the deep muscles of the shoulder and the big muscles that move the arm. And so that's what we think.
How often do you use it? And how long before you start to get more range and be able to throw the football?
Listen, well, I mean, I would say that your experience with it is not unique. I mean, it is, I think, with the nighttime component that kind of breaks the injury cycle, and then the daytime slowly reestablishes. But with the nighttime, I mean, most people by day two, have noticed a difference. And so, that's people who've had shoulder pain for years. And so, and then progressively, so usually the pain goes and then the range of motion kind of comes back.
So the product you also will get if someone has a problem with the hook or the system, you guys will replace that free of charge.
Absolutely. It is we're here to support people. We answer their questions and we replace anything that breaks. Well, hopefully things don't break, but if it happens, we'll be there for them. And we've been around a while. So we've got some staying power.
I also love going to the website and you can hear from other people who are having success with it. They talk about it, and you sort of it encourages you to keep going, to keep doing it, to keep following the routine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people, they put themselves in the story. They don't want to hear my story. But if they identify with someone in there, then they can see themselves getting better. And yeah, it's like, yeah, there's 731 reviews on there right now. So I mean, we're proud of that. We really are.
It worked for me. It'll work for you too. Visit shoulderreliever.com. That's shoulderreliever.com. All right, Doc, let's get into the nighttime brace. This is sort of the secret sauce of this whole deal. And I remember the first time you told me about it, it actually made a lot of sense. I'm somebody who throws my arm under the pillow. I'm all cringed up, and things aren't moving so well. This seems like a simple little device, but it's one of the more revolutionary parts of the system. Let's talk about it.
Thank you, Kevin. So I mean, number one, I would say if you got a healthy shoulder, you can sleep however you want to. Okay. And if you got a healthy shoulder, it's fine. But if you have shoulder pain, the likelihood is that at night you're kind of like pinching the top of the rotator cuff. And that is why, I mean, this is when the body wants to heal itself at night. And so if you are hurting yourself at night, it is an absolute vortex of pain that's hard to break out of, even with the good injections and the right physical therapy. If you're hurting yourself, every night, it's not going to get better.
So I'm like, if I'm in a position straight up, the blood's gonna move around and flow around, do what it's supposed to be. If I got one arm here and another one somewhere over here like this, it's not doing what it's naturally supposed to do. And that actually can that injure me, or does it just not heal?
I mean, I would say so the fundamental problem is that you've got, in my opinion, you've got muscle imbalance. Okay. So, and I would beg to I mean, I think that, yeah, the nighttime component, they're equally important, the daytime and the nighttime components. And so what's happening is the rotator cuff is made up of these four muscles, but really most of the problems are on top. And if you don't have the right muscle balance, that space that you want to be nice and wide sort of clamps down, and it's called impingement. And so you're impinging on this tendon, and when you're impinged, then you're not getting oxygen, you're not getting blood flow, and so What we are trying to do is, without surgery, alter someone's anatomy. How do we get that space open? Well, we strengthen we strengthen these muscles and we don't strengthen the other muscles. And so, uh, and then to more specifically to your question, so at night, you're on top of like this thing sort of pinching down, you're losing gravity. Gravity is probably holding it open a little bit. You lose gravity and it definitely tends to migrate. And then you either sleep on that shoulder or you've got your arm above your head and it really pinches this off here. And so that is what we're trying to do. And that's why it works so quickly, is because we're getting blood supply there at night.
I can only imagine the early days you trying to tie yourself into knots to make the pain go away. What was that process like of just trying to fix it for yourself to then develop it into what you have today?
Product development. I mean, that is it's a process, you know. It's trial and error. I've got several of the old sort of prototypes that I, would have my mother-in-law sew up, and what's going to work. You sort of fashion some braces out of some things that you have around the house, and they, inevitably are not quite satisfactory, but they give you ideas, and is all I can say. I mean, it's a long process, and I had, some people help me along the way, and with product development, and eventually, and that's one of the advantages about working on this for a few years now, is that we're probably on version like 8 or 9 as far as like perfecting it, and so but I have learned a lot more than I ever thought I would know about product development.
I bet. How does the brace train you to sleep in the right position?
It is it trains you because you are so I mean, to explain it, we are connecting, basically the lower leg to the wrist via strap to help the shoulder. So, we got some different body parts there, but and it basically is what happens is people just get so much better so quickly. They're like, aha, no problem. And then it's a 40-day, 40-night program. And so, but of course, people want to know what the maintenance is. Well, the maintenance is like, put the nighttime brace away, your shoulder's better, and continue this daytime exercise in order to maintain your functional pain-free shoulder.
But you recommend that you continue to wear that night brace for the 40 days. Will that benefit you by having that in place? Does it hurt you? Not
Well,
that?
I mean, certainly we get people who are like, there is no freaking way I'm going to wear this nighttime brace. And I'm like, all right, fine, just do the daytime. And, I mean, they seem to get better too. But I would say people get better more quickly using the nighttime brace. And yeah, it's 40 nights. Now, in our research, the people actually wore it for like 5 hours. They didn't wear it the entire night. They're like, oh, yeah, I wore it. And then all of a sudden I woke up in the morning and it was off. And that's fine. We're giving you whatever hours that you're wearing it. Those are hours that that your rotator cuff is getting oxygen and blood that it wasn't. So, whatever you can wear it is beneficial at night.
Will it work if you wear it on the opposite leg?
That's a good question. I do. So, it does. Some people will, move it. So right shoulder pain, we tell people to use it on the right leg. But, at times, I think particularly if people have a little bit more pain in the back of the shoulder, it helps to go contralateral or left leg if you have right, or right if you have left shoulder pain.
So my experience with it was put the brace on, go to sleep. I'm normally a stomach sleeper, so I'm sleeping on my back because it just seemed to fit better with me in that position. What happened the first night was I woke up 2 or 3 times because I was trying to get back to my stomach. But after about 2 or 3 days, I really had no problem sleeping on my back, and it stays in place great. It's very secure. So unless you really like sort of force it off or take it off, it will stay in place. And as I continued to wear that, I felt like I could feel more relief there because I don't know. It's just like it felt like the blood was flowing. I didn't have that when I woke up, I have to loosen everything up again. It just felt more natural to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly what was happening anatomically. Is that, hey, Kevin, I mean, your big muscles just got too big and strong, okay,
Yeah, that's what
and your
happened.
small muscles got a little too weak. You must have been lifting then or something, maybe. But But I imagine you were like most people. 92% of people with shoulder pain don't have a specific injury. They are like, hey, it just kind of crept up on them, and there it was, and it was there, and it got worse, and so that is kind of the nature of this problem. And there's a huge number of people like you that now or at some point in their lives had significant shoulder pain.
This is a product that that men can use, that women can use. It doesn't matter really how young or old you are. It's simplistic in that way, and it's not intimidating. And I think when people get it home and actually use it, they find that it's very easy to use, and so I think they do because it's not intimidating. It's not one of those devices you buy and then you hang your clothes on it.
Right. Yes. I mean, I will say that I'm very proud of the fact that we almost have a 50-50 breakdown of males to females buying it. And certainly it is granted, I mean, the older someone gets, the more problems you have in general. But we have a ton of young people using it. We've got a lot of athletes using it, as well as, the 97-year-old woman from Manistee.
What kind of feedback do you get on the nighttime brace? When people contact you, do they tell you, look, it worked right away for me, or I had to get used to it, or do they understand exactly how to use it?
I mean, I think that they give me their feedback on their pain. They're not breaking it up like, hey, the daytime part was awesome, the nighttime part was a pain. I mean, the feedback I get is like, oh my God, thank you, because this is like pain that I was like teed up for some massive surgery, and I was able to cancel my surgery. That's the kind of feedback I get. So, someone who's in pain and is not able to function, they focus on better function and relief of pain when they give me the feedback.
Do you find that people sort of just get used to pain and then just think, oh, that's the way it is? They don't even realize that there is a fix for it?
Oh yeah, I mean, people are like talking to their friends. They're like, "Oh yeah, I mean, it is that's probably the most important message that we can give. Is like, hey, it's not like you're not supposed to be able to reach up and get the plates out of the cupboard when you turn a certain age. I mean, some of these things are like super easy to fix. You just have to, pay some attention and know that, you're not supposed to be in pain. It's supposed to work, and that's probably the most important message we can get out there.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about throwing the football with my kid, but there's people out there who suddenly say, "I don't think I can work anymore. I'm gonna have to either go through major surgery or maybe I'll just retire." And they don't realize that there's a device like the shoulder reliever that can help them take the pain away in 40 days and 40 nights. Do you get a lot of pushback when people first are trying to make a decision on whether to get this product or not?
I think that the pushback is overcoming buying something online. That's what they have to overcome. I would say.
And so, in that process, that's why I kind of like the NFL quarterback talking about it. That's why I like having people like me talk about it who have actually used the product and have had it work. It's not just, oh, this thing popped up online. Should I buy it, or is this not going to work? I think you get that when you see somebody who you trust, then it makes a difference.
Absolutely, and I think that this is like, I mean, again, we've got a less than 3% return rate. It's like, what do you have to lose? I mean, we are, we're there. We've been there. We've got some, we got a great track record. We've got some great research results, and we got more research kind of brewing right now that we're super excited about. And, we want to be as legitimate as we can with the research. And so we're very proud of that.
Visit shoulderreliever.com. That's shoulderreliever.com. Let's talk about the product, this 40 days and 40 nights. One of the problems with weight loss for me is I get started and I do about 3 days on and then I sort of drop off and I stop. But with shoulder reliever, I found it really easy to stick to it because it doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of energy. And then at night, literally, you're going to bed and the thing's sitting on your dresser. You put it on and you go to sleep. How important is it to stick with the program rather than start, stop, start, stop, start, stop?
I think that this is about pain relief, okay? And so I think that I think that so people are that makes it easier. And so it's a and it's that immediate relief. They are, they're on board with it. It's easy. And so I will say this, like, okay, we get the pain, you get the pain better in 40 days or less. And then, some people keep a maintenance program 3 times a week for 5 minutes spinning it. Some people pack it up, put it on their shelf, and, they just break it out next year if their shoulder pain comes back. And that's okay too. I mean, I think that it is so it's used in different ways. But you had referenced before, one of the problems is people lend it out to a friend. They can't remember who they lent it to. And,
Right.
and they're stuck buying another one.
But what about you're using the product, and after 7 days, the pain sort of goes away? Is it beneficial to go the full 40 days? Are you building up any muscle as you continue to increase the weights and use this for 40 days?
Absolutely. And I think that it is these muscles respond quickly. We're kind of waking them back up, in my opinion. And so I think that it is, once they're kind of recoordinated and revitalized, the pain relief is quick. But of course, we want them to go the full 40 days because, we want some, it's not like the pain's there and then totally not there. It's like they slowly get better. They're able to reach farther. There are things that they can do. They can reach in the backseat of their car and not have pain. And so it is a progression. And so I think that people are so excited about the progress that, we haven't had that much of people dropping off. I think they use it, they get better, they appreciate it, and it's part of the simplicity.
What are some of the common questions you get? What are some of the injuries people suffer and ask, does this help?
I appreciate that question. I think that, and I'll put this caveat out there as far as or qualifier. Our research was on rotator cuff tendonitis, which has some other names like impingement syndrome or subacromial bursitis. So, I mean, when I talk, but I get a huge number of questions about like, hey, I've got a tear. This can't possibly help a tear in my rotator cuff. And, this is a super important thing for people to understand is that, number one, this is a pretty large structure. Okay. If you look at this whole thing is the rotator cuff, it cuffs the top of the arm bone and keeps it situated in there. That thing can take a couple dings and dents and small tears and still maintain its complete function. And the other one of my favorite research studies to quote is that, someone took 100 60-year-olds off the street who had no shoulder pain and did MRIs on all of them, shoulder MRIs. 60% of them had rotator cuff tears. So, not every rotator cuff tear needs a needle and thread to bring it back together. We need to rehab it. So I would say we've had a huge number of people with tears who've done well. And I would say we've had a huge number of people who have frozen shoulder who have done beautifully well with it quickly. And so I look forward to the day when I can come back here and tell you about the research that we've done on that, and I will. But that's sort of ongoing, so I don't have the data yet on that.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, having been in the TV business for so long, I have a number of cameramen friends who have gotten the surgery. And what they've gone through versus what I've gone through and the conversations, and they just look at me and they say, man, if that thing works, I'm so mad at myself for having gone through this surgery. But you do find that it does work for people, that people may be able to prevent going through the surgery.
They may. I love my surgeons. I work closely with them. We want great surgeons, but, I think that is a tough surgery to recover from. I mean, that is you're talking like, you're in the deal for like 6 weeks. You are, it's a 4 to 6 month recovery. And so we want those people that need surgery, we want it to go great. But we want to get as many people better without surgery that we possibly can.
What's it called when the shoulder joint space shuts down?
Well, the most common thing I think you're referencing is arthritis. Okay. So, and certainly a lot of people have arthritis in the shoulder and they're like, this can't possibly help arthritis. And, so we call it glenohumeral arthritis when it's in the shoulder. And I would say this about arthritis, since the beginning of medical literature, the strengthening muscles on both sides of an arthritic joint helps that joint, and that is whatever joint you're talking about. And this, I think it does help a lot for arthritis.
We're now all pickleball players, so people are getting injured playing pickleball. We keep saying, "Hey, make sure you stretch. Like stretch is good for you."
Right.
But right. So I mean, isn't this product something like that? It keeps everything moving. It keeps. I mean, at least that's the way I feel when I use it.
Listen, I mean, we've got a retired NFL quarterback as our spokesman. We made a mistake. It should be like a prominent pickleball,
Right,
okay?
right.
Because that is like that's where the pathology is, and those people love pickleball so much, and it's such an awesome sport. If they're out for like 2 weeks, it's like the end of the world. And I'm
Absolutely.
like, yeah, I gotta,
Rethink that.
I gotta rethink that. I gotta absolutely rethink that. So, I think that stretching is not a bad thing, but I think that I think that people need to pay attention to how they're using their shoulders. I will say this, like warming up for the shoulders. If you're gonna like jump rope before your pickleball and before you're working out, or just do little circles, that helps immeasurably. And our product helps immeasurably for warming up. I do think that is super important. The one thing I will say about as we try to rebalance, with our product, rebalance the muscles, I do try to have people, take 10 days off any upper body workout, while we're trying to get the small muscles a little head start.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody makes up their own maintenance program. And the website's so great to walk you through and talk you through the whole thing. It's very, very well done. I tend to continue to use the sleeping device at night because I feel like, all right, that's going to get the blood flowing. That'll keep me going, and I keep the shoulder reliever on the shelf in my closet. Only when I'm injured do I get that out and use that. Should we be doing all of this maintenance all of the time?
No. I mean, I think that, I'm not signing someone up for a lifetime of exercise. I mean, I'll stand by, hey, we're going to get you better in 40 days. And then, yeah, if you want it not to come back, maybe you should do a little bit of exercise with the balls every, 3 days a week is what I tell people. But I think that we're here to fix your pain. And then, if you continue to use it, that's great to sort of, ward it off and keep it away. But I think that so people will do either. They're either going to use the maintenance program or not use it. And if their pain comes back, they'll just do the 40 days again.
Thanks, Dr. Carroll, for being with us today. I think your clients are going to be very happy with the process once they begin it. I love the shoulder reliever. It worked for me. I think it'll work for you too. Visit shoulderreliever.com. That's shoulderreliever.com.